Hello fellow humans, my name is Poppy, and as the title of this video would suggest, I've been to Barcelona quite a few times. And as evidenced by my Kitsch tourist hoodie, I love it.
Okay, I need a break.
Okay, I think you've heard enough of that. Point is, I first visited Barcelona when I was 11 years old, and I've struggled to stay away for more than a few years at a time since. Because every time I go back, I just uncover more reasons to adore it and return another time. So I guess I just wanted to make a video explaining why I personally can't get enough of the place, and why you should check it out too. And because I've been visiting this city and documenting every trip since I was a preteen, my points will be supported by footage from deep within my own archives. Ranging from clips I shot 2 years ago, to a selection of shaky home videos recorded in 2010, and a few dates in between. I guess you could call this my ode to Barcelona. And don't worry, I know it's seen as a bit of a cringe foreigner thing to actually do the lisp, so I'll stop it there. Now, I know tourism has actually been a bit of a problem for Barcelona's locals in recent years, so I want to preface this video by saying a couple of things. Firstly, if this video inspires you to visit the city as well, I strongly encourage you to research exactly what's been going on with mass tourism. If you're more informed, you can plan a more sustainable and local-friendly trip, and hopefully have a more positive impact on the local economy and well-being of the people. For example, staying in hotels as opposed to using house-sharing platforms like Airbnb will help keep rent costs down. And I mean, it's not like we want greedy investors and landlords to win, do we? And second, although the impact of tourism is hard to quantify, it does seem like the number of visitors is going down, whereas the individual spending is actually going up, which is great for the local economy as well. Now obviously there's a lot more I could get into, but that's just a quick, optimistic note to say things might be getting better. The thing is, we don't know what the future holds, but what will always remain true is my love for this city. So, without further ado, here are 10 reasons I just keep coming back to Barcelona. Let's start with something I think everyone can agree on. Barcelona's architecture is unlike that of anywhere else in the world. Not only is the infrastructure exceptionally varied, but each individual style is spectacular in its own way. You can have two buildings right next to one another that have almost nothing in common aesthetically, but somehow the mishmash still works. Whenever I go back, one of my greatest joys is simply walking down the streets and looking up at the facades around me, because each one is so rich with design. Of course, you have the more famous examples of this, like Gaudi's intricately detailed Gothic church, the Sagrada Familia, which has been under construction for 141 years so far, or his smaller structure, Casa Batlló, which towers proudly over one of the city's major avenues. But even the apartment blocks down unassuming back streets will be beautifully ornate or quirkily adorned. There's artwork all around, and I'll never get enough of it. But as much as the eyes can feast, the stomach must also. And as far as I'm concerned, there's not much point travelling somewhere if you can't get good food while you're there. Fortunately, the city absolutely steps up to the plate. Yeah. And it's also very veggie and vegan friendly, so there's something for everyone. I reckon about 80% of my all-time favourite meals have been in Barcelona. Whether Spanish classics like all the tapas varieties, or delicious interpretations of prime pasta dishes, they've always slapped. Even the freebies and sides like coca bread go hard. Honestly, Barcelona's restaurants and street vendors have served me the best squid, fried anything, and weirdly, poke bowls I've ever had. But that last one isn't very traditional, so I digress. The desserts, unsurprisingly, are just as good. From countless heladerias and gelaterias to the snazzier patisseries, Barcelona is sure to deliver some great sweet treats. So yeah, you will not go hungry. And from desserts we move on to chocolate, because the Museu de la Xocolata is one of seemingly countless incredible and unique museums that Barcelona has to offer.
Now time to do our chocolate museum tickets.
Yes, the tickets themselves are made of chocolate, but that's not the only novelty you'll find in this city. Literally just Google Unique Museums Barcelona and you'll see what I mean. There's so many. But if you're after something a little more traditional, Barcelona's rich cultural history makes it the perfect backdrop for all manner of gallery, the contents of which ranging from pieces by smaller local contemporary artists to legends like Miro and Picasso. There are honestly far too many to list, but trust me, you should find the time to go and see at least one. Okay, I know this may not be the most thrilling thing to talk about, but I have to mention how well the public transport in Barcelona runs. Being able to get around easily when you aren't a local and probably haven't rented a vehicle is so vital, and I've never had any issues with the transport links in this city. The maps are super straightforward and easy to read, the routes aren't convoluted and full of exceptions like the Tube in London, and, at least in my somewhat limited experience, everything arrives on time. Not to mention, the modes of transport themselves can actually be quite fun, which is why the fifth item on my list is Montjuïc Mountain. Because to get there, you'll likely take the funicular rail, which connects seamlessly to the normal metro network, and then ride up the rest of the way in a gondola with some insane panoramic views. Oh yeah, and just in case it needed clarifying, the mountain is in the city. It's so accessible. And once you reach the summit, you can explore the impressive fortress of the same name, overlooking the city and its coastline from every angle. Then, if you walk a little further down the mountain, you'll find Barcelona Botanical Garden, home to flora from all over the globe. I've been up Montjuïc 3 or 4 times during the day and at night, and still find it so surreal that this spot exists adjacent to a massive urban area. And yeah, getting there and going back is honestly half the fun. A large part of the joy of Barcelona is rooted in exploration, and that's why I also have to mention all the hidden spaces you can find if you just look a little closer. Well, I say hidden, but take that with a pinch of salt, because obviously they can only be so undiscovered in a city that's a popular tourist destination. Nevertheless, I love how often I'll be wandering down some side street and come across a gate or alleyway that leads into some stupidly stunning courtyard full of orange trees, mossy, aged water fountains, meticulously tiled walls and staircases, or any other classically beautiful thing. These kinds of spaces are particularly common in the Gothic Quarter, but I just know there is so much more for me to uncover and I've barely scratched the surface yet. Speaking of scratching, did you know that I'm allergic to some types of grass? And I only mention that because it's the best transition I could come up with to introduce my next point, which is that Barcelona has an array of magical parks and gardens. Of course, there's the one everyone knows. It's on all the postcards, it's another Gaudí masterpiece, it's known as Parc Güell, and yes, it is absolutely beautiful. But also pretty dang touristy. So once you've ticked it off the bucket list, I suggest trying out one of the less crowded green spaces, like Parc de la Ciutadella. It's got this spellbinding fountain, which was actually one of Gaudí's earlier works, as well as plenty of charming corners with rowboats and the like in other areas of the park. But again, that's just a small taste of the many parks and gardens Barcelona has to offer, because I think I should let you guys enjoy discovering them for yourselves. But if you're staying in town a little longer, you might want to venture out further than the city centre. And personally, I do think you should do so, because Barcelona has no shortage of nearby day trip destinations. And all of which, as you might expect, are easily accessible via the brilliantly connected public transport network. A quick train ride northwest, followed by funicular or cable car, will take you up Montserrat mountain, where you'll find the historic 11th century monastery of the same name, known for its breathtaking views. But if you're after something a little more contemporary or gay, you might want to hop on a different train, to Sitges. This coastal town, southwest of Barcelona, is renowned for its film festival, carnival, and LGBT scene. My family and I spent a month there in 2017, and I can assure you the restaurants are lit and the nightlife is poppin'. Now, those are just 2 examples, but I always enjoy how easy it is to explore the surrounding areas, and should you find yourself in Barcelona, with enough time, I think you should too. And now that we're pondering the map of the area, it feels like a great time to mention the 4.5-kilometre coastline that runs along the city. I just think it's so cool that you can do all the other things I've mentioned in the day, and then just casually stroll down to the beach in the evening. Or spend the whole day there if you prefer. While beaches themselves are hardly rare, it's not often that they're attached to major, vibrant cities, so being able to have the best of both worlds is definitely a treat. And even cooler than that is being able to dance to live music with your toes in the very same sand. Which brings me on to my final point. Barcelona hosts a ridiculous number of music festivals. That's why you get articles like this one, casually listing the top 22, because there are just so many to choose from. I've personally only been to 2, but I think I can still vouch for the quality of them in a more general sense. My family and I went to BBF in 2017, and then I went to Primavera Sound in 2022. Something about vibing out to your favourite tunes under a pinky purple sky with a slight sea breeze caressing your cheeks feels sensationally euphoric. Honestly, whether you go to one of the more mainstream festivals or support a more independent one instead, which would probably be better, you have to experience the magic that is the local music scene. And there you have it. 10 reasons I can't keep myself away from Barcelona. And hopefully, 10 reasons you'll end up loving this iconic city like I do. Now I could easily add more to the list, but I'm also aware that I shouldn't make this video too long. So instead, I'll let you carry on with your day. Who knows, maybe you were planning to watch one of my other videos next. Or maybe you were just intending to drop a quick like and dip. Perhaps you actually had a comment brewing in the text box below. Or maybe, just maybe, you were planning to hit that subscribe button before doing whatever else it is you intend to do today. No matter your plans, thank you for watching, have a lovely day, and goodbye! Barcelona! 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 Barcelona!